Malik Beasley is back in Los Angeles, and the Lakers just added a pressure valve for every single half-court set. Hit like and subscribe right now, because this is the move that makes the offense feel lighter. Beasley's game is simple and loud in the best way. Movement shooting that bends defenses. Sprint off a dribble handoff, flare to the wing, relocate to the corner. He forces defenders to trail hard, and he forces bigs to step out where they're uncomfortable. That kind of gravity doesn't just produce threes. It creates back cuts and slips that weren't there before. You'll notice the timing change immediately. With Beasley flying through actions, LeBron's reads speed up. Doncic gets cleaner pockets to sling cross-court lasers, and the big set screens knowing the defender can't duck under. Miss a switch, and it's 3 points. Stay home in the lane opens for drives. Late clock, he gives the staff a simple answer hit the guard screen. Free Beasley for a catch and shoot and avoid the scramble. It's a low-maintenance fit that adds points without stealing touches. Exactly what this roster needs to turn good nights into great ones. Now let's translate that into what you will feel on opening night. First trip down, the Lakers run empty corner and flow into a dribble handoff on the right wing. Beasley ghost cuts instead of setting it. His defender stumbles for a split second, and the ball immediately finds him on the shake above the break. Feet set, shoulders square, bottom of the net. Second possession. The defense decides it's not giving up another clean look, so the weak side tagger hangs a step nearer to Beasley's body. LeBron reads it in real time, drives middle, and drops a bounce pass to the roller because the helper never fully commits. The box score gives the big the credit, but the possession was won by the runner who never stopped moving. There's also something numbers never quite capture: the pace of decision. Movement shooters do not just make shots. They make everyone around them think faster. When Beasley sprints through a staggers to flare sequence, the defense has to talk twice as much and a half beat earlier. If they don't, the result is either a clean look or a hard closeout that creates a straight-line drive for a teammate. The Lakers have lived too long on tough make-or-miss possessions. This turns those trips into repeatable reads that travel on the road and survive when legs are heavy. Think about what this does for Doncic in the pick and roll. Last season, he saw crowds a high tagger at the nail, a helper digging off the strong corner, a third defender stunting from the wing and trying to recover late. With Beasley sprinting off the ball, that nail defender has to hesitate. Help one step too far, and it's a kick to a ready shooter. Stay home in the pocket pass to the big arrives on time. The neck thrives when he's solving single coverage problems, not triple layer puzzles. Beasley trims the puzzle down to size. For LeBron, this is oxygen-laden games. He can run the same inverted pick and roll with a shooter sprinting behind. The play, and the second defender won't feel his braves sliding into his driving lane. If they do slide, the pass is simple and the read is clean. Beasley doesn't need the ball to matter. He needs a window and a catch. The stress leaves the possession before the shot even goes up. Coaches will love how easy the playbook becomes. Pin down in the handoff, zoom action into a quick flare, weak side hammer. When the ball enters the post, every staple gets more dangerous because one defender can't guard two options at once. The best part is that nothing looks complicated. That's the secret of modern offense. Simple movement at high speed, repeated with discipline. There's a defensive story here too. He's not an all-defense candidate, but effort plus structure equals competence. And competence is all you ask for when the offense is adding 6 to 8 points of gravity a night. Beasley can chase, he can top lock on the side when the scheme demands it, and he can contest on balance. With length behind him and switchable forwards beside him, the Lakers can hide the rare misstep without breaking shape. In other words, the upside on one end outweighs the maintenance on the other. Rotation dash-wise, this lets the Stags stagger without fear. Swap Beasley with the second unit, and you still have a North Star for half-court possessions. Slot him with the starters, and you dare teams to play math games. Help off a shooter and die by three. Stay home and watch LeBron and Doncic live in the paint. In closing groups, the choice becomes even cleaner. Need spacing and tempo? He's in. Need a defensive look? Keep him if the matchup fits? Because the offense swings the ledger. There's an off-ball partnership brewing with Austin Reaves that should have fans excited. Reaves lives in craft hesitations, veers, hostage dribbles, and late cuts. Pair that with Beasley's straight-line speed, and you get a two-guard action that makes teams communicate across the entire width of the floor. Run a simple guard-guard screen at the top and watch the dominoes fall. Switch it and Reaves hunts. Try to peel and Beasley pops the daylight. Go under and you're gifting a practice shot. The ripple effect is obvious for the bigs too. A stretch five sharing the floor will find the paint less crowded, which means rolls are cleaner and seals produce deep catches instead of traffic. For a team that has occasionally looked cramped, one mover is the difference between chaos and caras. Choreography. The staff can even dust off old Staples elevator doors. Chicago action into Spain pick and roll, because now the floor has a reason to bend where they want it. What about the nights when the jumper isn't falling? This is where movement shows value beyond the box score. Even when he's 2 for 8, the threat forces defenders to chase, and that chase creates driving lanes, +1 passes, and offensive rebounds when the defense is off balance. The Lakers have the athletes to cash those scrambles. The best shooters do not just shoot. They create motion the other team struggles to freeze. For fans who want something concrete to track, watch how often the first pass of the possession is forward instead of sideways. Movement shrinks the time the ball spends holding its breath. With Beasley on the floor, the ball moves ahead of the defense, which is how you score before the set can fully form. Every point that arrives in rhythm is a minute saved on star legs in April. There's a locker room angle here. Veterans who have lived in high expectation programs tend to bring practice standards with them. Spacing rules, timing marks, shot. Discipline, those stop being suggestions and become habits. Beasley fits because he doesn't need the sugar rush of 20 shots to matter. He needs 7 good looks, 4 sprints that distort the shell, and 2 cuts that draw a foul or a switch. That mindset plays well next to very large personalities and very large ambitions. Matchups across the West are a big reason this move makes sense. Against switch-heavy teams, a mover forces mistakes. It is hard to switch cleanly when the guy you're switching onto is already sprinting into a screen. Against drop coverage, the pull-up appears on cue. Against blitz, the release valve is where it should be. Coaches sleep better when the answers are built in, and Beasley is built-in answers. Picture a long road trip in January. 3rd game in 4 nights, legs are heavy. The building is hostile. Movement shooting is worth its weight here. You don't need hero ball to create a bucket. You need a screen and a sprint and a pass on time. That is survivable offense, and survivable offense keeps the standing steady when the schedule turns. Cruel doubt, will there be defensive targets on some nights? Sure, that's true for most shooters in this league. But playoff defenses tend to hunt isolation mismatches. If you keep the ball in front, and if the help is early, the damage stays limited. The upside on the other end is what justifies the minutes. The Lakers aren't bringing him to be a stopper. They're bringing him to turn the offense into a moving walkway dot. It also gives the coaching staff a different kind of closing lineup. Imagine LeBron, Giannis, Reaves, Beasley, and a rim protector. That's 4 shooters around a driver-passer who reads weak side help like few ever have. You can invert the floor and run LeBron as the screener. You can put Giannis off ball and let him catch on the move. You can keep Reaves in the middle of the floor as the decision maker. All of it stretches because Beasley is an honest to goodness. Must dash chase dot even in the first week, you'll hear the crowd respond. There's a sound fans make when a shooter lifts into space, a slow inhale that happens before the ball even hits the hands. That sound returns when Beasley starts stacking transitions from action to action. Basketball is theater, but it's also timing. The Lakers have added timing. If you're wondering how this affects pace, here's the truth. It increases the pace of good shots, not the number of wild ones. Fast doesn't mean rushed. It means the ball gets to the right place. In fewer steps, that's what movement is. That's what gravity does. Points arrive before the defense's feet are set. There will be a night when Beasley pins a defender in the corner, relocates, and buries a three that swings a game. The highlight will get replayed, but the important part will be the steps before. The catch, the way his route shifted the shell, the way the pass arrived a beat early, the way the spacing told everyone on the floor where to stand. That's the language of modern offense. And the Lakers just added another fluent speaker. If you're the scouting report on the other side, your first note becomes boring and brutal. Chase number 5 off the line. Communicate through every screen and do not help off the strong corner. That is good news for Los Angeles because it means your attention is already split. A defense that spends all night chasing one rarely has. Fresh legs to close possessions on the glass. One more thing fans will love is how this helps late game calm. When a possession starts with a sprinting shooter rather than a static isolation, the defense cannot load its shell. That prevents the dreaded stall where 5 eyes watch the ball and the clock. Add one easy bucket to the fourth quarter, and you save yourself a dozen anxious heartbeats. It also deepens the playmaking tree. The more often Beasley pulls 2 bodies, the more often the short roll appears, and that's where Reeves and Doncic can rack up paint touches without forcing anything. The defense gets stretched horizontally and vertically at once, which is how modern attacks crack even the best schemes. All of this is why the move reads as both an identity choice and a practical fix. It says the Lakers know who they want to be, a team that plays with pace of thought, not just pace of feet. It fixes what needed fixing, space and reliability in the middle of games and stress relief at the end of them. Before we wrap, here's the clarity you get because good reporting respects the audience's time and attention. As of this moment, there is no official team announcement, no jersey photo, and no press release. This channel runs a rumors and speculation window where we break down the biggest moves on the board and give you our honest read on fit and impact. This is that segment, and my personal take is straightforward. The fit makes basketball sense. It protects the stars from heavy lifting, and it gives the fan base a cleaner watch on weeknights. If it becomes official, we'll translate the contract into plain language and chart his first 10 threes so you can see exactly where the gravity shows up. If it swerves, we'll tell you why it swerved. Either way, you leave this video with a clear picture of how it would look on the floor. And for me, that picture looks like better rhythm, fewer stalls, and a little more joy in purple and gold. That feels like winning time every night. Yep,